Hi folks, so today I will be dismantling the film transport mechanism for this Yashica MAT 124. I presume it's the same as the 124G. I never had the 124G, but they say they are similar. Anyway, let's start. So, in order to access the film transport mechanism, we have to remove the crank winding lever, and there is a retaining pin that holds everything in place. So what I usually do, I've already took a little bit out, so you gently pry like that, okay, grab the pliers, oop, and that thing has found itself already out. Now pay attention to this notch here, it should be facing upwards, okay, and there's the spring. The spring is what keeps everything, you know, firm, the lever, so on and so forth. Now let us not lose any of these because we will need them very soon. So this door is held by 5 main small, very small, I can show you when I've already took them out. These are very small countersunk screws that you have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, okay? Okay, so I already can see some problems here. So there's this thing here, there's a retaining pin here, and that's one thing I can spot for sure. Anyway, now the system works vaguely something in this manner. When you close the door, there's this pin here, okay? That literally, look at here, look at here. It literally engages the mechanism, okay? Let me show you. You see, so that the counter, the film counter starts to turn, okay, when you actually crank. Now there's another small pin here, I can try to show you, okay? This is what you know, dictates between 12 and 24 exposures. So what this does is, you see, there's a spring that keeps it back by default in 24 exposures, and when you set to 12 exposures here, this pin will be pushed, and what happens is, you see, this part of the, you know, this stopper goes to here, because so that when 12 exposures reach, I mean this bolt reaches, it will be stopped by this one, and of course, and it keeps you know, turning freely, sort of. Now let's start with this thing. We'll start dismantling this. We will be dismantling it into bits and pieces and reassembling it back again, okay? So first things, what I usually do is I take care of this part, you know. I start removing this part. Oop, where did that thing go? Okay, so it's here. You have to be careful with these springs. It's a very powerful spring as well, eh? So, now you have to really be gentle with these things, because, and precise, because else you would start to lose shitloads of things. Okay. Now we can undo this one as well. This is a bad camera, so I won't be restoring this one for sure, but I'm using it as a demonstration on how the film transport mechanism vaguely works. Now we continue to disassemble the whole 12-24 exposure mechanism. There's not much but you have to pay attention particularly to the spacers that are beneath. Okay, so we take this thing off like that, like this. Okay, just put these where we wouldn't lose them. Okay, now we take off this. There's another spacer behind the wheel. Okay, and they have to come in the same orientation. Now that's one. You see, that's two. And now we simply take off. I think there's the spacer there. It goes with the other screw, and we can either take this thing off, or for now we can leave it and take it off later. But we can. Okay, that came out pretty easily. So what's next? What's next is this thing. As you can see, this is what actually locks the crank winding mechanism for each exposure. You have 24 slots here, okay, and of course this thing, when it's not this one, it's not here, it locks as so, blah, and it locks in place for the next exposure. Sorry for my bad English, but I'm not very good at speaking English. I'm really sorry. But so we can take this thing off as well, because we need to access the bolts, these screws behind. Now we can unscrew this thing, take it off. We can take off. There was the problem, you see. This was not in the spring was not in the slot, because there is a slot in here that the spring latches onto, and was not. I can see there's another problem here, because I noticed this one was wobbly, and yes, this screw, it seems to have snapped, probably for judging from the way I think this one is the thread is reversed. So if you effectively try to undo it, okay, and anti-clockwise, you would be tightening it, and probably that's what happened here. Someone tried to undo it and kept tightening until it snapped. You see? Now we have to remove this thing. Notice that these two screws here are countersunk, and they are designed to be fit flush, so it doesn't disrupt or you know, make contact with any of the wheels or somehow. So we take off this thing here. Again, this is a demonstration of how to disassemble and assemble, and possibly check spot problems in the Yashica MAT 124 crank winding mechanism. So this thing can have a lift up. Yep. Okay, now this is what actually cocks the shutter. See, there's a slot in here. You can see it well, I'm not sure. So when this thing turns, it cocks the shutter, you can see here, and this other part here releases the, you know, fires actually the shutter. Now it is important to take care of the spring, because this spring keeps this gear in its place, and this gear is what actually provides rotation to the actual film. So if we can, let's see, you see that thing here, this one is actually this wheel, and it is held by this spring and this you see, okay, I have seen times where this thing was literally not in its place. Anyway, we can start assembling it again. I'm not interested at this stage to see it's not this the you know, but so I'm only interested in actually to show you how the film transport mechanism can be dismantled and reassembled again and spot possible problems. Another thing, you can see that you have this, you know, slanted wheel. This is what actually measures the thickness of the film, because the more you take photos, the film gets thicker, and it has to compensate, because else it would be still turning a lot and you would literally lose, the spacing wouldn't be even. And what this does, this thing is actually this thing. So you can see it actually moves it slightly when the film, you know, gets thicker and thicker. Now another thing, this thing here is slotted, and it has to get this slot has to be in this pin here, else you wouldn't be able to fire the shutter. So what I do usually, I try to put it this way and try to match it as best I could, you know. Okay, that's in. So let's tighten this thing up. It's very important not to over tighten these screws, because these are all made from copper and you can snap them very easily, and you would be facing another problem of how are you going to get the remaining part of the screw from the thread hole, you know. Okay, let us not forget that these two here have to be the countersunk one that we removed earlier. Okay, now what's next? This thing. Okay, for now we leave the spring. This retaining screw here. Okay, now this thing goes here. Okay, this thing goes there. And this thing goes in here. Now we can take care of this thing. great. Now this thing, as I mentioned, you have between 12 and 24 exposures. Each slot is an exposure, and this is the end where this one locks into place. So when you effectively turn, these things turn, you know, these are blop, and it locks, so on and so forth. Okay, now we can put in this thing. Well, the thing is, when you get used to these, they're not that difficult at all. You know, it's what I did the first time I actually removed these. I took lots and lots of photographs and videos, so that if I had to, you know, it's in a way so that you can, I'm trying to concentrate and speak as well. It's not my ideal, so but yeah. So that one thing goes there. It's very good to have videos and of the whole process, so that you know how things were originally, and you know. Okay, this seems to be very good. So okay, next would be this thing. Okay, we have everything ready there. We're not far away from being ready. Now, another thing that is important, this thing is held by a spring. So you see, it's and the point of this is so that when this thing disengages, you see, the counter returns back to S. That's the whole point of it, of course. So this disengages when you open the door. So what I'll be doing is, for now, trying to find the whole slot, and before tightening it up, you have to give it up a little bit. I mean, some 1.5 turns, so that it's, you know, you see. So let's say we are here, and then whoop, you see what happens. Let's can be stuck because it's not, you know, everything is in place. It's not everything. So another thing, now we have to put in this broken thing that, if it was another camera, of course I would have replaced it, but since this is a camera that I'm using it to show you how to disassemble, I think I'm not going to bother and replace. Again, this one has to be tightened the other way around. It's not clockwise. To tighten it, okay, to tighten it, you have to tighten it anti-clockwise. So if you need to loosen this bolt, you have to turn clockwise, else you would snap the bolt like someone did before me. Okay, we're not far away from being done here. Another thing, this one here, you see, there's this spring here. There's a slot. This black thing, okay, has a slot for where this spring latches into. Again, I've seen that one, you know, for some reason snap out, and there's no, because there's no feel, and it's like you're rotating into nothing. In fact, if you turn, because now everything is kind of engaged. Okay, let's put this thing in. This one is the mechanism that determines between 12 and 24 exposures, basically. It's a little bit overpassed to get in, but well, okay, that's in as well, you see. And this should be well tightened. Now there has to be this spacer here, else this thing would get stuck. It is also important that you put this spacer in the same orientation, because otherwise, I've had cases when I literally swapped it, changed the phase of the spacer, put it the other way around, and it literally got stuck. So it's ideal that you keep it in the same position no matter what. Now you have to be a little bit cautious with these and very careful, but it's nothing out of this world once you get used to it. Okay. Yep, that's the way it should be. As I said, this is the only screw that is anti-clockwise. Okay, the thread is anti-clockwise. So all others are normal ones. Now we'll put in, okay, like that. But for now we keep it like that, because we have to put in the spacer again using the same orientation. So the spacer gets in there. Okay. Yep. Now this thing, I don't know if you can see it over the camera, there's an inbuilt kind of spacer that gets into here. If you don't center that one perfectly, you would end up with the exposure setting stuck. So yes, that has to be tightened and slot positioned exactly. Come on, yeah. Okay. You see what happens if it's not slotted into that spacer? It literally gets stuck. So we have to actually slightly slack the screw and find until you Oop. Looks like it's in. Yep, I think so. Yes, it's. And yep. Not forget to put in the spring that goes, and that's looks great. Okay, so lastly, what I require is put in this the reset mechanism. You tighten this thing. Sometimes no need to over tighten, just a little. Okay. Okay, looks great. And that spring that, you know, popped out, I'm seeing it a little bit. Okay, it's great. This is a bloody powerful spring, eh? Okay. We're nearly done. Let us not forget this spring. This is very important because this spring keeps this wheel, which actually the actual wheel that turns the film, in tension with this part. In fact, that's why there are two screws here to keep it. Okay, so this thing is actually ready to be closed. Yep. These cameras sometimes are they're a marvelous piece of engineering. It's like you're literally seeing a Swiss watch. They're so some at times they are really refined, you know. So back from the days when they used to do stuff once and for the, I was going to forget the spacers. The retaining spring here, in plastic with the notch facing upwards, and now the pin that holds everything in place. This chamfered part will be going facing to the right, or to the left, sorry. And that's just about it, I guess. Now let us, yep, 24 exposures. There's a good chance that this thing will not work because of that broken broken screw, but it didn't hurt if we try it. So this one is set at 12 exposures, so let us see. In fact, it's not like it, it's let's see. It's not working well. It's not working well because of that screw. Yes, it was to be expected, but we'll see. But as you can see here, what's happening. Okay. Every time it cocks the shutter, you see, and then when you fire the shutter, you release this thing. It should be releasing everything. There's not you know, there's some broken screws as one. You know what, I'm going to have a look. Maybe there's another look. Let's see something. Maybe, but I didn't check the timing, but because technically it might actually work, but I'm not so sure about it. Because seems to be stuck. Because this was tinkered as well with. Some very odd reason this thing. It should actually if we oh, that's why I forgot. Give me a second. No wonder. No wonder this thing wasn't engaging. That's why I forgot. I'm sorry, I really forgot about this thing. So let us put in, because you have to put in a cartridge, an empty film spool, else it would not engage. Silly me. Now this. Okay, let's try it right now. Let's see what it does. I was saying, but it was something. I was saying to myself, it's something. It's like there was some gear missing. But now, yes, there are times where I forget. Getting older, I guess. Let's check it out now. Now the chamfered part goes to the left, and we can try to reset it. Okay. Yep, it's working now. As you can see, it's a little bit rough, but and we are. I put it the other way around anyway. Yep. You have to have some patience with these, because sometimes they are really buggers. And now we can trigger this thing. You can trigger it from here, you see. Okay. And then we move on to the number 2. And looks like it's working as it should, considering that broken screw there. So yep, hope that this video has helped someone of you that that has someone who has one of these with the film winding mechanism. I really hope that this video was genuinely of any help to you. Have a good day, guys. Thank you.